Monster Hunter Wilds is a difficult game, and I've been doing my best to understand it and trying to get better, specifically on Longsword. And I've been really having a bit of a hard time understanding why people play the way they do. Why do people use, the sheathing attack and EI Spear Slash and use it to this amount of extent, where every speedrun I see, they mainly just do this. You can check out any video, for example, this Art of Longsword video. They always use it. Sometimes they use Foresight Slash, which is easier and probably does around the same amount of damage. But most of the time, they're focusing mainly on using EI, right? Even though it requires more setup, even though it requires 3 decorations to, for most people to use them correctly with the sheath decorations. Even with all those things, they still use this more. And I was like, why? Why do people do this? And I think I've understood now why this is the case. I'm going to talk about it so you can make your decision on what type of gameplay you want to do. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live. And let's get into it. So, what am I talking about? So, whenever you're playing Longsword, what you want to do is get into Dreadgate as fast as possible in order for you to do more damage, right? And there's a few ways of doing this. By you using your Spirit Blade combo attack, by you going into, dodging an attack with Force Slash, just like this, or by you going into the sheathing thing, and then using EI Slash just whenever you're getting hit by the enemy. All these things will get you into a next gauge, and make you do more damage. Now, all of them are good. They have disadvantages and disadvantages. Normally doing normal attacks, the Spirit Blade attack, you can get interrupted, right? You can know how to have enough energy. For the sheathing attack, you might actually miss. There is a very specific window you want to do this with. You might miss the attack. There's a few things that can happen. But for Foresight Slash, I guess sometimes you can, miss the attack and you miss your attack, you miss your window, and now you don't have anything. But Foresight Slash can be used anywhere, especially at any moment, especially in Red Gauge. On Red Gauge, you can actually do this super easily, do a lot of damage. There's not that many disadvantages from it. That's why it was so weird for me that people use it this way. And then I realized that there are a few benefits from EI that I was not really taking into account. And these are these 2 decorations that I'm going to talk about now. One is going to be the counter decoration. What's up here? Perfectly says counter here. It doesn't. Okay, I'm just going to, just for the sake of argument. You can see here, temporarily increases attack power after being knocked back. A lot of people use this a lot, right? I'll just replace this with ambush, because ambush not really good for this fight anyways. But a lot of people actually does use counter a lot. And the thing is, whenever you're using your EI Slash, you have super armor. You have like some sort of like you're not gonna get hit, and you're gonna actually trigger the counter, I think. Even if you're not technically taking damage, even though you're not getting knocked back, your counter will trigger, giving you this buff. This is one of the biggest reasons why people indeed use the EI Slash to keep this up the entire time. But there's another one as well that I didn't think about. And this is the fact that we have the Mighty Jewel. The Mighty Jewel increases attack when you have recoverable damage. The red portion... Oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. That's the poorer one. Sorry, my bad. Let me just review that. Boom, there we go. Mighty Jewel. There it is. Increases affinity if stamina is kept full for a period of time. Affinity is essentially crit chance, and you want this up the entire time. You don't want to hit with having your maximum amount of crit chance you can have on your build, making you lose stamina very, very bad. And you're gonna be like, well, what's the point? I mean, you're not really losing stamina, are you, whenever you're using any of those things? Well, you are if you're using Foresight Slash, because it counts as an evade. You can see it on the right side. It's gonna maximum might has worn off. This means that I'm actually using stamina every time I do this. And this is the exact reason why people use EI Slash instead, because EI Slash does not require any stamina, making you be able to have your buff the entire time, even while evading, even while building up gauge. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people go for this specific setup as well, with 2 Fulgor pieces, so you have a little bit more because whenever you have a the set bonus, you get an extra stamina bar on top of the one you already had, which helps you be able to, even if you, for some reason, go in there and do the Foresight slash, you will still be able to have that buff, or you'll recover very, very, very fast, right? There's other setups, like this one right here as well, which doesn't actually use this. This one in particular, here we go. So it's on a speedrun, where you actually don't use the 2 Fulgurs, but instead you use Arc Belt, choose Arc Belt sets in order to get a quick sheath 3 times, and then Sane as well, and you have every a little bit of everything. You have 3 pieces of sheath and 2 pieces of Sane, and usually people would go for Tenderizer again here. I just like Flare personally, so I like Flare, but regardless. With this setup, you essentially want to EI all the time because you don't have that little window, making for any Foresight slash that you do, consuming all your stamina and losing your buff. That being said, even with a setup like this, Foresight slashing is not the worst thing ever. You can actually, because okay, yes, you lose the buff, okay? But even if you lose the buff, this is not the end. You can actually deal with losing the buff and still being optimal this way. For example, right now, I went into Foresight, right? I lost a little bit of my stamina, and I'm gonna go into Special Sheath for me to wait until my stamina is recovered for me to make another decision. And why do I go into that in particular is because I know that is gonna require a bit more time to actually sheath my weapon. Okay, it gave me 2 chances to go my normal attack, like the AI slash, that does more damage than normal attack, but the time has been consumed on doing that, right? So now I have my stamina back, or I can go into an AI slash, boom, Spirit Slash, right? Ready to go in order to get myself to the next cage, right? And the time that I actually sheathed is not wasted because I was waiting for my stamina to recover. You can also, instead of that, well, don't get hit. That's the wrong thing to do. You can also go in and boom, go into a Spirit Helm after it, right? So let's pretend like we're dodging, boom, and now we're gonna go up. And look at that, by the time that I'm up in the air, ready to do the damage, the buff is already up. So by doing any of these things, even if you do indeed lose your stamina, even without the 2 Fulgur set, which I do have right now, your stamina will be up to the max, and your buff will be available, giving you 0 negatives from actually using the Foresight slash. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't want to EI slash at all, because obviously you want to EI slash because you want your counter attack. But foresighting sometimes, nothing wrong with that. There's no problem with it, as long as you know how to react to the fact that you are indeed using that ability. Now, of course, there are different types of setups. Let me just go back to the camp. That will, interact with us in a different way, right? Of course, using 2 Fulgur to have a little more stamina will make the punishment of using stamina less, right? Which is cool, right? That's nice, right? But at the same time, right? At the same time, you can go for another set like this one, which is a bit more greedy for that type of stamina usage, where you have more quick sheets, so you can go into a bit, a bit easier while conserving the amount of damage with double Sane decorations, right? You can do, honestly, however you actually want it yourself, right? Depending on the type of playstyle you want to do. Right? Do you want to foresight a lot? Probably go for 2 Fulgur sets, so you don't get affected by it as much. Do you want to EI more and be a bit more greedy in this regard? Then definitely go for a set like this, where you have Sane and sheathing, quick sheath at the same time. Do you not care about any of this, and you just want to play the game and just dodge all the time, and you don't care that much about it, then probably just go for a full Sane set and not even Fulgur, and just go full damage. And yeah, you might lose the mighty buff sometimes, but there's a lot of people who would play this way. Or don't even dodge, just move around the boss, right? So the attacks don't hit you instead of you doing any of the dodges, right? It all depends on your type of playstyle, and having this knowledge and what type of interaction will trigger different decorations, so you can make the build that you want and the gameplay that you want, I think is very important. And I hope that this video helped you out with that. So tell me what you guys think. Tell me if I missed anything. And subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Twitch to watch me live every morning. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. See you guys around. Love you all. Bye-bye.